budget that recently announced that seems to be a jobs neutral. The no new programs that were announced and all the existing ones continue as it is without any improvement or further modifications. There is no new infrastructure spending. One of the highlights of this budget that is continued focus on increasing the government capital expenditure. A sharp increase by 35%. That including the states in its revival strategy. This is certainly the way to go in the post-pandemic period. As these expenditure that are expected to be in the crowd, that is driven in the private investment and the overall impact on the economic growth in the country, like 1.4 billion people population is going to be substantial, and it's expected to improve the potential growth in the medium term. If the economy realizes these positive outcomes, that will be surely that it is happen to be more jobs will be created, and the capital expenditure and those proposals are largely on the infrastructure basis. The central planning of the union budget that is based on the National Infrastructure Pipeline project. The main agenda of this union budget will be based on the PM Gati Shakti, that is a plan, National Infrastructure Plan, and the 7th engine of the growth based on highway, railways, port, airport, road transport, and other few areas that is very important, and those largely proposal that was based on infrastructure, and that was the higher employment, electricity, as well as the larger multiplier that impact on those private sector employment. It could be taken so much time at least until the project was grounded. There was a few other proposals that was a continuation of Atmanirbhar Bharat package, the self-reliant India, and those that is introduced during the pandemic, which should help to create jobs in the economy. The Union Budget 2022 has focused on the PM Gati Shakti project that would be driven by the investment in the core economic sector. It is an important factor, that is a economic sector of a core industry or core sector, such as example for that roads, railway, airport, ports, mass transport, waterways, and logistics, which should be support the job creation. The early implementation of the 24.5% expansion in the budgetary allocation for the capital spending to a substantial 7.5 trillion that can trigger a durable economic growth momentum with the potential to create the jobs, and the interest-free special assistance of rupees 1 trillion to the states that will help to prioritize those capital expenditure even at the transition to the end of the GST compensation period, and the early start of such spending that will be imperative to maximize the growth and the job creation potential for this capital expenditure. The highlight of this budget that is focused on increasing those capital expenditure of 35% and including the states in the revival strategy, that is certainly the way to find it in the coming years, and public investment is a very important part, and the public-private partnership model, that is the PPP model in many sectors including railway, airports, and many other important organization or corporation that is held initially by the government entity, that will be the budget help kickstart the private investment, will boost the economy, and that will driven to create more jobs in this. That's the impact of this PPP model, and this private investment in the manufacturing and the infrastructure that will be the government initiative in inefficient public sectors or clear those policies like it has done in the telecom, in the airways, in the recent example of Air India and Tata acquisition issue, that that's the incident, and when it provides a viability gap, that's the funding or monetization of the public asset. There is no such new announcement till now. but the private investment are determined by the various factors apart from the public investment, like the expected demand, the interest rates and other transactional cost, external demand that is already in an elevated level, while the revival in the domestic demand that could take a while, and the interest rates that are largely driven by the inflation, while there are upward pressures on the interest rates due to open economic issues. At least the budget proposal do not appear to be inflationary, and that's the important. Maybe take the proposal of PM Gati Shakti that were going to bring down the logistic cost and thereby the overall cost of the doing businesses and make those domestic firms that is more competitive in nature, the local product, product and the services that is create those domestic demand is more like a competitive due to this lower logistic cost and the ease of doing businesses. And the other proposal like extension of MSME sectors, the PLI scheme, the tax incentive for the SEZs and new manufacturing firms should be helped revive the private investment, the early kick of those public spending programs, and the emergency credit line guarantee scheme for the MSME sectors, and which are labor incentive, provided those indirect support to the employment. And the government current focus on those capital expenditure is important, as the private investment cycle is yet to revive. The large private corporates have been deleveraging and that will place to undertake those investments. And due to the COVID-induced uncertainty, besides the low capacity utilization and over-investment in the many cycles, and the public investment in infrastructure have a higher multiplier effect on the economy and are known to crowd in the private investment, and the private investment expected to benefit from the PLI scheme and many other potential that generates a large amount of capital expenditure across many sub-schemes between the fiscal year of 2023 and 2025, and the increased allocation for other labor incentive schemes such as PM Awas Yojana and PM Gram Sadak Yojana that will also help to create the assets and employment, but this will not be a mild push to the employment generation in the near future and near term. You can say that, and that maybe some time will be decided that whether it can generate a permanent solution or not. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.